Welcome in. This is your odds checker betting preview for this week's Rocket Mortgage Classic. I'm Rick Gehman. That right there, Geoff Fienberg. Jeff, here we go. We sprint to the finish line. That is the FedEx Cup. The regular season ends next week at the Wyndham Championship. So here we've got guys jockeying for position in the final couple of events.
Yeah, certainly, Rick. I mean, the guys battling for 125, even some of the players we're more fond of. They want, I mean, the demarcation point for some is 125, but there's some better players flirting around that 30 number that take hyper notice of their situations as well. So yeah, another couple then into the FedEx Cup, and it all sort of winds down quickly here.
Yeah, not a bad board for the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Patrick Cantlay leads the way. He's the favorite. 11-1 is the longest number you can get currently available on the odds checker grid, with last week's champ, Tony Finau, at 16-1 with Will Zalatoris. And then, Jeff, I'll round this out with Cam Young at 20, probably going to be quite popular this week, and Max Homa at 25-1. Kind of the big five before we get to our defending champion.
Certainly, Rick. And I mean, I love Patrick Cantlay this week, but he's sort of putting himself in an unbettable situation. Maybe we really should be focusing on these guys because, I mean, pinch me the last time a pre-tournament post 30-1 actually hit. But I don't know. I just can't make it happen. That being said, or at the very top of the five you listed, I'm going to the absolute back end of it. I like investing at least in a good player. I decided the price point on Max Homa works for me. There's an enhanced win of 27-1 over at Bet365 currently. Donald Ross course. He seems to really enjoy classical designs. At least that's where his wins have come from. I trust him in that what will be crucial 6 to 12 foot putting range. So, you know, no number. I blindly really do love Cantlay this week, but I'm going to step back and bet on Max Homa.
25-1 on the grid. As Jeff mentioned, you might be able to find a little boost out there somewhere. Our defending champ, Cam Davis, is 33-1, and Kevin Kisner is 37. They're the only two golfers in the 30s before we get to a couple of guys right on the nose at 40, Jeff. It's Adam Scott, it's Davis Riley, and it's Keegan Bradley. You were telling me before we went hot, one of these names at least has your attention.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of them do have my attention. Kisner clearly, you know, course fit seems to make a lot of sense, but there's that 40-1 standing out there at BetMGM when staring at the odds checker grid. Seems like a really strong and fair number for Adam Scott, a player that, I mean, you would clearly look at his run of events this year and argue this stop is beneath him, but he's got to fill a few more here, Rick, and I guess get him in before some big decisions on his end get to be made. But 40-1, he lost in a playoff at the Wyndham a year ago, which is next week. I assume we could see a number that's close to maybe half of this next week, depending on Wyndham field strength, that in what could set up to a very similar type of course. I'm going to back Scott. You do it cautiously, I think, because it is an event that could turn into a putting contest. But I am just hoping he sticks it to 7 feet so much more than the guys around him that the makes will outweigh the misses. Staying in this range, though, on the complete other side of that, Denny McCarthy seems like it could be a fair play as well, Rick, in that 40s. Even, the same place I mentioned with Homa, there's a 45 on the enhanced win on Denny McCarthy. He's got 4 top 25s I see in his last handful of Donald Ross starts. And for a putting contest, off a top 10 at a major, the first of his career, maybe that's like a newfound excitement and confidence that going to a course that should suit him with that off his best major performance ever is a link that I might be willing to pay what feels like a short number on Denny.
Yeah, 16 straight events that he has gained strokes with that flat stick. So Denny almost certain to do the same again this week. around Detroit Golf Club. That's 42-1 at its longest, 35-1 at its shortest. So you should shop it. A couple other notables as we continue down the board here, Geoff. Mav McNeely, as long as 50, as short as 33-1. That's one of the larger discrepancies on the board, along with Cameron Tringale, anywhere between 37 and 50. Any of these names kind of in this middle part of the board that have caught your attention?
Webb Simpson seems like it could be fair. A week out from Wyndham, a course that if you hope the putter clicks, and not bad. Russell Henley as well. Rick, 55-1. It's almost like a trifecta of veterans between Scott, Webb, and Henley that I am thinking about. You know me, I'm always talking about like playing a ceiling more than a known quantity, but there are some known entities that I do feel like could give us an opportunity. I'm not going to let us get out of the Mav McNeely section of the board without getting your opinion on him before we move on.
Yeah, listen, I think this is, I think it was T42 or T49 or whatever it was last week, which was it looked a lot worse than it actually was. He made a quad, a 9 on the par 5 on his final hole of the week, which dropped him. If that ends up being a T25, you'd be talking about him having 4 straight top 25s, going back to a place where he's had success before. This feels like a McNeely course. He's a big time birdie or better maker. Like, call me an idiot. Like, I'll just step on the rake, right? I'll just step on the rake every single week when it comes to this guy.
Yep. He did make a soft sell, but I don't mind McNeely at all this week. He's a guy that has fooled me a few times, and there's only so many events left, Rick. Why not let him keep fooling me?
Right. Yeah, there's only so much more I'm going to have to take one way or another before his season's over. Brendan Steele, 66. We see Cam Champ, who played well last week, is also 66-1, Geoff. But as we start to kind of get into the, right before the triple digits, is there anything here that you've been kind of eyeing up?
Yeah, so the Goddard number is really all over the place. You spoke about the McNeely discrepancy. Goddard goes from 60 to 80 on the grid in front of us. Not even sure why the DraftKings tabs aren't showing up. They're not showing up for me at the moment. He's 100 over there right now, Rick. So most places I'm seeing in the mid 60s. There is 100 hanging. I did mention there is a trifecta of veterans that could have my attention this week, but I can never resist playing for that ceiling. So much hype last week, rallied to make the cut. This is the type of player that I could be eyeing as we hit triple digits. Like last week, I told you on the way out last week, I was really hoping to stay underexposed and get lucky. Well, I stayed underexposed and almost got lucky with a Grillo. Although I'm always a Finau super fan, no money on it. It was nice to see. But Goddard is one I'm really willing to go back to. And Nick Hardy as well in that 90-1 range, doubled up from last week's number that I lost money on.
Yeah, some of these books not really sure what to do with some of these guys. Hardy as short as 65, as long as 90. Your fellow Canadian Taylor Pendrith, back from rib injury, Geoff, that kept him out for 4 months, has put up 2 top 15s in a row. This should be a place that offers him a pretty good blueprint. And now we get to the triple digits. Only 3 years of history at this event. Cam Davis, Bryson DeChambeau, and Nate Lashley were your winners. Some books did not even offer Lashley in 2019 because he got in late on a Wednesday night. How much credence do we give to the guys who are sporting triple-digit numbers this week?
So, I mean, I'm going to bet a few of these guys. I've actually already bet a few of them, and it's like, me, I love to overinvest in the good players on the board. Like, I'd rather just overinvest in good players and just get got with the bad ones. And this run of recent winners say that's probably a prudent strategy still. That being said, I'm completely just not willing to pull really the trigger on much or anything at the top. So I'm here at the back, Rick. We're going to throw some bombs. We're going to have some names. More names than usual. I'll still be underexposed. I have bet Chesson Hadley 180 80 to 1 over at DraftKings. So keep an eye on there. That I know it's not showing up on the grid. Lee Hodges 200 to 1. People say putting contest. I want to think I'm going to get there with our guy Bo Hostler too by the time the card gets submitted as well, Rick.
Yeah, I've already circled his name as well. He's also a lot longer than you'd think he is. Like, he's sneaky long. He putts well. He always gives us like 22 holes of ceiling golf a week. It's the rest that he has trouble with, but maybe he can make it happen here.
Yeah, and even James Hahn, I don't think is all that bad the way that he has been playing. If this thing's gonna get away from the guys at the top, and as you mentioned, I mean, there's really only like it's funny because like Zalatoris and Cam Young are there and it's time for them to win, but you know they have never won. So I don't think other young players are going to be intimidated if they find themselves head to head with Cam Young on Sunday. It's not to say Cam Young isn't the superior player, but I don't think he's going to intimidate anybody in this field. You know, if they look at these PGA trophy case here, Rick.
No, I think you're absolutely right, and it's a lot different than running into a buzzsaw of a super elite with a lot of trophies already on the mantle. All right, Geoff, any final thoughts before we get out of here? Did we miss anything? Anybody you really?
No, I did say I was going to put you on the spot, and I thought about doing it in the Adam Scott discussion. But you know, if you believe the rumor mill, it does seem like, and you know, his burner, not him, used to be him Twitter account that is like almost like a live bot. Seems like guys like him, put it this way, the sports books have not moved President's Cup lines. Like you see all these live rumors about Hideki and about Cam Smith. Well, if they're going, then shouldn't, and I'm not running to bet USA minus 300 or 320, but my point is, if like, even on the concept that they might potentially go, you would think the books would move those lines. You know, because
I love that you're thinking about this.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they've kept them stale, which really makes me think those guys are going to have their cake and eat it too. And by that Cam Smith's going to fully commit the FedEx Cup, take that freebie. They've committed, I assume, to Trevor Immelman to say they're actually going to follow through with the President's Cup, and then they're going to walk. And it's almost the Vegas line that makes me as convinced of that as anything, that they're still going to be there at Quail Hollow.
Yeah, I think that's logical, right? If you're going to stay, if you want to go and you're going to stay for the FedEx Cup, it's like 2 more weeks to get an opportunity to play international golf for someone you've probably already committed to in an event that a lot of these guys like. And I don't know what the schedule for live looks like, but I don't even think you're missing any live events. So like, yeah, it would make complete sense that even if they are going to go, it'll be post President's Cup.
Yeah, and there's 2 sides to this. You could think Greg Norman would be like, wouldn't it be amazing for Cam Smith to like beat Scotty Scheffler or beat Morikawa in like a big moment? Or would they get, or it seems like sometimes they'd get more rocks off by like totally embarrassing the event and having those guys pull out late. But again, as I said, I think they've committed to Immelman and there's like a real friendship there. And I know money is big, but I feel like they've kind of told Liv that they're going to play this one out. And I think it's the commitment to Immelman, among other things, that make me believe it.
Yeah, and you could argue like I don't think the international team's going to win it, but if they do, and you can grab a couple of their guys, like that's great for Liv. As you mentioned, if one of your big boys beats one of their big boys, that's good for Liv. Like there are other good scenarios. So yeah, I think everybody, if these handshake deals are in order, it'll come post Quail Hollow.
Yeah, that's kind of all. So I don't know. And so that's a long way of saying Adam Scott. We're going to get one more. I think I'm going to bet on it before the door closes. Scary to do it at a putting contest because he missed a 4-footer that would have won it at Wyndham a year ago. So he's capable. He's capable. I promise you, Rick.
Certainly,
I don't want to promise. I take back the promise.
Unpromise it. G Fienberg 17 is where you can find Geoff on Twitter. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been your odds checker betting preview for the Rocket Mortgage. Good luck.